18 minutes to 2. The Manninline is on through till 2 o'clock. We had Junior Tynwald on Sunday Opinion, and with us are George Ratcliffe and Noel Bovenizer from Ramsey Grammar School and William King from Castle Rushen High School, who were all there as reporters. So some of the questions we had. Do you think the Isle of Man government represents the people and is answerable to the people, William?
I think it's great that, was it the 2016 election we had? We had lots of new MHKs coming in, including people such as, I think, Claire Betterson, who used to work in the hospital, and Mr. Morehouse used to be a teacher.
People like Ralph Peake as well. They all a lot of, and of course the last tranche of MLCs were new as well, and all women, of course, as well.
Yeah, and this is beginning to show that we're not just filling the Parliament with I don't know how to say it, sort of just politicians who are politicians, but we're actually getting people that have done the jobs and they're actually in there. Dr. Alex Allinson is another example, and it's great to just see these people who've actually done the jobs going in there and having a say in what's going on.
Noah, do you think the Isle of Man government represents and is answerable to the people of the Isle of Man?
I think to a certain point, yes. As William said, there is now more and more people that actually come from similar areas to the people they're representing. They're not what's the word?
Detached.
They're not detached. Yeah, they're not like only done politics their whole life or something like that. I think that'd be difficult. Do
you think it's important though? I mean, a career politician may be very good at being a politician. Somebody who's done another job may not understand the system and may not be up to speed with it. Do you think it's important that somebody's had another job previous to being a politician?
I think it can be, because it puts you more in touch with, say, if you're a doctor and you've gone into politics, if you're then helping out with issues around the health service or in general, then it can give you a better view, not a better view, a more in touch view maybe of what it's actually like for the people you're talking about their jobs or their condition, things like that. Was if you're a career politician, maybe you're not so much. I can understand the benefits of it, of the political system very well, but I think encouraging people to both have an interest in politics from an early age and maybe know they want a career there, but alongside that also encouraging people who have a different career, who are maybe looking for something new or maybe have ideas and opinions that they want to get out there, then I think that's just as important in order to have a more representative parliament.
George?
Yeah, like William and Noah said, it is good that these new MHKs like Alex Allinson or Claire Betterson did work with the public a lot of the time before they became politicians, but it's also good that we do have politicians that have been politicians for their whole life, because it just it gives someone with a lot of experience in the world of politics.
The Isle of Man electorate is very close to politicians. If you're in somewhere like in the UK, 80,000 or maybe 60,000 per seat. In the Isle of Man, you can get a seat in Tynwald with a couple of hundred seats sometimes. And you're very close to your electorate. Your number's in the phone book. People can stop you in the street. Do you think that's a good thing?
Yeah, I think it is, because it makes you seem closer to a politician, so they'll listen to you more, whereas if in the UK you're in a seat with 80,000 people, you'll think it would be harder to contact your politician, where on the Isle of Man it's a lot easier to do that. And
every 5 years, people can haul you out. People can not vote for you. Do you think, and again, this is sometimes an accusation that's pointed at politicians, that they're not answerable to people? They make decisions that sometimes people disagree with. Is that an inevitable consequence of being a politician? So you can't please everybody all the time.
Yeah, like what you've just said, there will always be a decision you will make as a politician which will anger some people, and you can't always get the perfect balance of everyone supports you. You will always have someone who disagrees with whatever you're doing, but you'll also have people who are always on your side.
Would you ever contemplate being a politician, George?
I don't think I would. I think...
Got an MHK's name, though, George Ratcliffe. It's a great name for an MHK.
Thanks, but no, I don't think I would ever run.
Why?
I don't know. It just doesn't seem like my forte, really.
Noah, politician?
It doesn't seem like the most fun, especially at the moment.
It's not supposed to be fun.
I think for me, it'd be more down the route similar to George of being a journalist and keeping the politicians in check, as opposed to actually being there in the midst of it all. I don't. Right now,
Do you think it's the media's job then to be a check and a balance to politicians?
Yes, at least in my opinion, I think that it's their main job, at least political journalists, obviously, is to keep them in check. And I think that's where we get into the dangerous precedent of, like we said before, of the whole fake news straight from the politician's mouth to the people. I think there should be an in-between sometimes, which is the media.
Okay. But nowadays, we've got, with social media, and this is a big debate that goes on within the media itself, that you have, institutions like Facebook and Twitter that are unregulated. Max Radio is regulated by statute. It's got laws that surround it. The law of libel surrounds Max Radio and other broadcasters. The entities that comprise social media aren't answerable. Facebook isn't answerable to anybody. So whatever happens on Facebook is not subject to any legal recourse. What sort of danger do you think that presents, William?
Well, we don't have a formal opposition in the Isle of Man government like they do in Westminster, because we don't have the party political system. So effectively you could argue that the opposition of the MHKs are the people, I suppose, and it is more the job of the media to tell the people what is going on and then allow the people to have their say, which is why we have phone-in programmes like this, the Manninline, for people to have their say in what's going on. And I would say that is the main job of the media.
One of the questions was television on the Isle of Man. Do you think Tynwald should be televised?
I think this is very interesting because I think, as I already said, seeing a debate is so much... I just got such a better understanding of it than listening to it. Just the whole stand up when you speak or bowing to the speaker when he comes in and stuff. And it could be argued that anyone has the right to go and actually watch a Tynwald sitting, but obviously that's not practical for some people. And surely it's not that hard to get a few cameras. Like, we've got these cameras in the studio. Get these cameras, put them in the Tynwald chamber and get it online live. I personally think that young people are consuming video content more than they're consuming the audio stuff. I recently I did an interview here, and I put the audio clip online, and I think I got 3 likes on Facebook, and then the Manx Radio Vision version came around, and I got over 50, so I just think that proves that the video would be useful.
Let's just clarify, because people will hear your voice from time to time on Manx Radio. You're at Castle Rushen High School, but what do you do at Manx Radio?
Well, this summer I've been doing some work experience down in the newsroom, but I'm going to become a sort of a freelance producer over the next few months.
Tell me, Noah, do you ever watch BBC Parliament? You're doing politics.
Never would tune into that TV channel.
It's not a must-go. It's not a must-go-to channel for you.
No, but in general, I don't necessarily tune into general mainstream TV in terms of BBC, ITV. I mean, there's a few programs where I would, but most of the time I watch either online or services like Netflix.
What do you watch
Amazon
on a laptop, tablet, or your phone?
More likely on a laptop, or like my Xbox is hooked up to the TV,
right,
and I can watch things through that. So, the only time I would ever see the UK Parliament is if something interesting had happened that had gone up on the news or social media, or like something out of the ordinary.
Okay.
But I wouldn't necessarily see the general sittings.
George?
No, I don't watch it all the time, and it's never really a top priority of what I watch. But if something interesting does happen, it will probably bing up on my phone.
Okay, just to everybody now, there's no television on the Isle of Man. The Isle of Man gets very little coverage of current affairs, news and current affairs. It's represented nominally by BBC Northwest, and occasionally things will come up, normally concerning Lockton sheep. But do you think the Isle of Man should have a television service in terms of politics, or maybe in general, William?
Well, I think Manx Radio do a very good job, but as I've already commented, I think that the video content is much more consumed much more than audio content, and I think sitting down to watch the TV is something that people would do of an evening. Sitting down to listen to the radio might not be what people are doing anymore. So it is a difficult one. I don't know if there is enough content to have a whole TV station on the Isle of Man, because we've got MTTV, which puts video clips online, but it's not a big TV station, is
Well,
it?
in Jersey and Guernsey, in the Channel Islands, they have their own commercial television station, and have had for nearly 60 years, Channel Television. And BBC Channel Islands puts out a couple of quarter-hour opt-outs on their BBC. We had Northwest Tonight here. They put the equivalent of a 15-minute opt-out into there. Now, it's something we never have. We've never had television on the Isle of Man. We've got lots of radio stations, but no television. Do you think do you think some television would help?
I think certainly with the opt-outs on the BBC local news, that would be brilliant if we had, I don't know, maybe some deal with Manx Radio and the BBC or something to reach a way of those opt-outs coming from the Isle of Man. And I know it's an expensive business, and I know that the politicians are looking into this at the minute. OK, now we've only got a few minutes left, but one of the questions was, and don't blush, was about condoms and sex and younger people. Are there condoms? George, you can tell me. Are there condoms available at Ramsey Grammar School?
No, not at the school, no. But I believe you can get them from the gum clinic at the hospital. But apart from that, no, not schools.
The whole issue of... And again, just as older generations have always thought that younger generations are having far too much fun. And one thing there are no females here, but underage pregnancies, teenage pregnancies, is always a criticism that's aimed at younger people. Do you see that as a problem? No?
I wouldn't say it's a major problem. It's hard on the Isle of Man because we have a smaller population to see if it's that much, because obviously one person here getting pregnant underage is different to one person, say, in the UK, because the larger schools probably. But I know of one or two people who have given birth underage or very young. I don't know if it's necessarily a problem. I think that will always happen. So as far as I see, there's not necessarily a problem with it.
George, I'm going to make another sweeping generalisation. Is underage pregnancy seen as a big problem within younger people's world?
It is definitely a talking point, but there's a split opinion. Some people do see it as a problem, but others also see it as just fine so long as they're willing to have the baby. But I don't think people see it as much as a problem as they used to.
Is there ever any conversation regarding abortion?
Recently, quite a lot, because of Dr. Alex Allison's amendment to the abortion bill. Lots of people in our school are talking about that, and there's quite a big split, because some people who think it's fine as abortion, like Alex Allison's reform, but there's others who are strongly against it and think it's never okay.
And how could you summarise the sides of the debate? Does that split down any particular line? Boys and girls? Is it religious? Age?
There are some people in our sixth form who are religious and their beliefs are swayed by them, but there are also others who just think so long as it's the person's choice, it's fine.
How are things at Castle Rushen, William?
Well, I've just done my GCSEs, and the abortion did come up during our RE course, and it was quite interesting in the lessons to see the debate and the different people's views. And I don't think it's split along gender. I even don't think it's split along religion. I think it's just people have their own views on this. And there was one day when I remember we'd had an RE lesson. It was after lunch, and the abortion protesters had been in Castletown Square, and I don't think I learned anything from that lesson, because people were just so I learned stuff, but people were just enjoying being able to, not enjoying, it's the wrong word, they were just so passionately talking about this subject. Yeah, the conversations do happen.
They relish the debate.
Yeah.
Right, but with, if you've just tuned in, Noah Bovenizer and George Ratcliffe and William King, who were observers for the Junior Tynwald. Let me just ask you, can you name, how many politicians on the island can you name, George?
That's a number, or do you want me to list?
Just list some names.
Right. Well,
All the politicians now
Oh,
are crossing
God.
their fingers.
right. So you've got
Who's the chief minister?
You've got Howard Quayle.
Yeah.
And then there's Alf Cannon. You've got Martin Perkins, Stephanie Kane, Alex Anderson, Laurie Hooper.
Okay, stop there. Go on, Noah.
I can't remember who George said. Kate Beecroft, Tim Baker, Jeffrey Boot. All politicians.
Any.
Steve Roden.
William, you're on now.
David
Well,
Ashford,
my MHKs
Graham
are
Cudgeen.
Graham Cudgeen and Mr. Morehouse. And then, of course, in Ledgeco, there's Tanya, who used to work here. And there's Kate Lord Brennan. That back in the Keys, we've got Rob Collister, Ray Harmer, did someone mention?
That'll do. All right. It's been great to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed, Noah Bovenizer and George Ratcliffe and William King. The reporters from Junior Tynwald. Thanks to our producer today, Catherine Nichol. This has been Andy Wint, and Roger's back next week.